Hello and welcome to another episode of Fun Fact Learning. My name is Chinonso, and today we're going to be talking about linear equations. Yes, you heard that right. We don't have to overlook the importance of mathematics in everyday life. Now, a linear equation is an equation that models a real life situation such that an increase in one variable leads to the increase of another variable at a constant rate. And that is why a linear equation is represented by the equation y is equal to mx plus b. So anytime you see an equation of this form, y equal to mx plus b, you are looking at an equation that is said to be linear. We are going to also define the variables here and the importance or what they signify. Y is said to be the output. So anytime you have a function and you have your y is the output. It means the result of varying the independent variable, which is the x, which is also referred to as the input. So as x changes, the value of y, which is the output, also changes. The next term to look at is m. M is the slope, and by definition, a slope of a linear equation is the rate of increase of the value of y for every unit increase of the x variable or the x value. So the slope, when you say the slope of an equation is 2, what that means is that for every increase of the x value by 1, y increases by 2. If the slope of a linear equation is half, what that means is that for every increase of the x value by 1, y increases by half. That is the simplest way to understand what a slope means. So by definition, a slope is rate of change. And that is why, for those of you who study physics, you would recall that acceleration is the rate of change of velocity with time. So when you plot a velocity time graph, the slope is the acceleration. Now, that is very important to know, and I just thought to share that. The next variable we're looking at is x, and we've said x is the input, or as it were, the independent variable that alters the value of y. Then our b, which is popularly called the y-intercept. The importance of the y-intercept is that it signals the initial value of y when x is 0. In other words, for example, if x is said to be 0 here, multiply 0 by any value of the slope. I mean, this whole value fizzles out because x is 0. So y is dependent on x, and x is, like I said earlier, the independent variable that alters or referred to as the input. Having said that and having known that, it is important to know that a linear equation can be graphed. So this equation can have its graphical representation. This is said to be the algebraic expression or equation. We can as well have it in the graphical form. So we have this is the y-axis and this is the x-axis. The y-intercept is that point where the line touches the y-axis. So let's assume we have a line that looks like this. This is b, which is the y-intercept. The slope, we can use this to get the slope. So we get the coordinates here, which could be y2. This other component could be y1. Corresponding value here, x1, and the corresponding value here, x2. So to find the slope of this line, this straight line graph, which can be represented by this equation, the slope would be, so m is equal to change of y all over change of x. So which is equal to, now to get a change of y, it will be, since y left y1 to y2, the rate of the change would be y2 minus y1, which will be all over, the same thing applies for the x component. So that would be x2 minus x1. Now, a lot of students would say, sir, I saw in my text that slope is, instead of y2 minus y1, it's y1 minus y2 all over x1 minus x2. Yes, the whichever one comes first is not important, as it will not change the value. What you should be interested in is ensuring that you're consistent. So if you begin with y2 in the numerator, make sure you begin with x2 in the denominator. So slope is equal to this, and it's also equal to y1 minus y2 all over x1 minus x2. These will all be correct. So in forming the linear equation, we know that y is the output. We can always find the value of m. We know that b is where it touches the y-axis, where the straight line crosses the y-axis. And then this slope, whenever the line goes this direction, upward, forward, it's positive, as opposed to when you have a line graph that goes this other way. So if it goes this other way, it's negative. So I want to trust you've learned. This is just a basic foundation for linear equation. In our subsequent classes, we'll be explaining them further so that you become a pro in dealing with problems that are in algebra and specifically linear equation. Thank you.